Do what you've always done, get what you've always gotten. Hi, welcome back to my channel. It is a Saturday. I just washed my face and put moisturizer on. Just moving slow today. I had stayed at my daughter's last night and now I'm home and trying to figure out what I want to do today. It is so windy and I love it, and I just want to sit on my couch and listen to the wind. But I also kind of want to go thrifting today. Maybe do some decluttering. I got to do some listing, editing. Feeling very couch potato-y. I did something different last night. I went to a craft night with my daughter and her friends. It's very nice of them to include me. But what was different about it was me going out again on a Friday night, and also saying yes. Story time. There was a time when I moved to Oregon, and once I got settled, I made a deal with myself to say yes. Yes to invitations, yes to suggestions. And it got me into a lot of situations, but it got me out of the house because I'm very much, I think when I first moved there, it was winter, so it was like very rainy, and I didn't know a lot of people yet, and I was job hunting, and so I was online a lot, and I was on the phone with friends and texting and all that stuff, but I was pretty solitary, which is fine for me. I like that, but maybe it was too much. But I wasn't like out socializing or doing stuff like that. So doing the yes was really good, and even just getting out of a rut is very easy. I had moved to another state, and it's not going to be different if I just do the same things I did, where I used to live. There was a quote that I was using a lot during that time. Do what you've always done, get what you've always gotten. And I remind myself that of when I get into a bit of a rut. I came upon that quote because I wasn't happy with my life and my circumstances, and I really, really, really felt that life was happening to me for a long time. I really didn't think that I was doing anything to create my life. And just the way I grew up and stuff, I really was afraid of a lot of things, including life. I think I was just afraid of everything. So that quote really got me through some really tough spots. So when my daughter invited me to craft night, I said yes. And I had a really nice time. Again, Friday night, after a long week, I was like, didn't want to go really. I was like, I get really uncomfortable meeting new people, and I really have to work myself up to it. But I tried something new, and I tried not to think about it. I was like, I'm going, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to go. So I think it worked. I did have a nice time. It was very fun, and I started doing cross stitch. That's the craft I brought, because it was the smallest one I could bring, because usually my craft projects are just very big and busy and messy. So I had a cross stitch kit that my daughter had given me years ago, and I have a complicated history with cross stitch. It was something I did a lot when I was married, and so I associate it with a time in my life where I wasn't really happy. And I think early on in my separation and divorce, I tried to do things to cover up the things that made me unhappy, unhappy memories. Like, I had gone on a cruise with my husband, and it was the worst. I wanted it to be so great, but I ended up being sick when I was on the cruise. And it's just a lot of work. I had 3 kids and a job, and trying to get everything coordinated so we could go on the cruise was solely on my shoulders. So you do all that, and plus work real hard because you're going to be gone for a week. I ended up getting an ear infection, but I didn't know it. So I didn't feel well, but I didn't know what it was. And there was a thing that I don't know how real it was, because it's not something we ever talked about. But I always felt like my husband was really disappointed when I was sick. It seems weird, but it was like, kind of just like, you could just hear him sighing, like, and I did have a lot of colds and a lot of ear infections. I think I had, while we were still married, I had strep 3 times in like 18 months. So there was a time I was really, really sick, and I remember towards the end of our marriage, I had like an abscessed tooth or something. I had to have root canal. I don't know. It was a big thing, but I got really sick from it. And so I was sick a lot. Plus, I think I had depression anyway, so that tends to make you feel like down and not really great. And I think he was just sick and tired of me being sick and tired. I mean, I was too, but there was like, I didn't feel any compassion coming from that area in my life, which is just heartbreaking, which doesn't help the whole entire situation. So we went on a cruise, and I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't always want to do things he wanted to do. Again, I also am like, I wouldn't call it shy, but I get anxious in social situations, and my ex loved social situations and loved to, be the person other people wanted him to be, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to analyze him. I really don't care. But like, you get assigned a table, at least we did then. It was a very long time ago. And I ate at the table probably twice that whole week, but I didn't want to eat with those people. Like, I just didn't. I kind of went on the cruise to be with my husband because he worked a lot, and we had 3 children. And at that time, we had my parents living with us. So to have that alone time with my husband was important to me. And it seemed like that was not, he wanted to socialize with everybody. And like, so we had a huge disconnect at that time. Plus, I didn't feel well. So that was annoying him. That's it, the annoying. I felt like I was annoying him when I was not feeling well. And not just that trip. It was a constant thing. If I wasn't feeling well, it just annoyed him. I have so many stories about stuff like that. Stuff that I haven't healed from. I guess I will quickly tell the one story. I am so off topic. I'm so sorry. But there was a time I had like a sinus infection, but it was really bad. Like, I couldn't even get to the doctor by myself. I had my husband take me to the doctor, which is like almost impossible to get him to coordinate a schedule to take me anywhere. um, but he took me to the doctor, and like I could barely swallow. Like, my throat was so swollen and sore, and I had a fever, and I was real sick, and I could barely function. And I could barely swallow pills anyway, but I was, again, my throat was all swollen, so it was really difficult to swallow. And the doctor was really concerned. He was like really thinking that maybe I should go into the hospital. Like, he's like, is someone going to be with you? And my husband told him, yes, I will be with you, which I remember in the office thinking, that's odd, because he's taking the kids and going camping this weekend. So he's canceling his plans to be with me. I was like in shock. So we get my medicine, and I go home. I take it right away, and I'm sleeping and I'm resting, and I realize my husband comes in, puts an ice chest next to me with what I found out was Gatorade and water, maybe. I don't remember. I think it was Gatorade or something, with my pills. And he leaves. He took my son, because I think the other kids were older, so he took my youngest and he went camping. And again, this was a time when my parents were living with me, so I was really sick. I was really out of it. And he just left my pills and the ice chest next to me, and he left. And I mean, that's the kind of point where you know it's over. Maybe you don't realize it, or you realize it, but you know, but you maybe don't want to admit it. That's probably closer to it, that you know it's over. And he may remember it differently, which is fine, but I know where I was. And I was not well. And I remember it was a couple days later, before he came home. My mom came upstairs, because this is the time when my parents were living with us. She didn't usually come upstairs, and she came upstairs because she hadn't seen me, and she didn't know what was going on. She didn't know I was sick. He hadn't said anything to them, and I was still upstairs, just barely making it. And she had no idea that I had been ill. So anyway, I still kind of carry a bit of pain in that, and not just like from him, like, you know, he's out of the picture, and that's for the best. But for my own self, like, just kind of healing from that kind of like abandonment and pain. And I'm not sure if I'm quite over that. Like, I definitely don't trust people to take care of me. I like overcompensate and don't want people to help me. Like, even my own children, I feel bad if they have to like drop off soup when I'm sick or something. Feel kind of bad about it. I try to be uber prepared. Still kind of healing from that kind of pain. I don't know how long it takes. I think I'm doing better, but then you never know. But so the original digression here. Went on that cruise with my ex-husband, and like, I was put off of cruises after that, because I really wanted, I think at that time, was dreaming of a transatlantic cruise, because I didn't think I'd get into a plane and fly over the ocean. I just didn't think I was going to do that again. Grew up being scared of everything. It was enough that I flew down to Florida to get on the cruise. And which I didn't mind. I actually don't mind flying at all. But transatlantic, it makes me a little weirded out. I don't know why. I just don't like to be in the plane that long. I think 5.5 hours is like my limit on a plane, where I start to be uncomfortable. And again, I'm rambling on again, but after having flown across and back now 3 times, I'm much better on the like 7.5 to 8 hour flights. That's fine. I can do it. I don't want to, but I can. So in 2016, my children and I went on a cruise to Alaska and completely erased that kind of bad feeling about cruises. And it was such a wonderful time. We had so much fun. At that time, like, they were all adults, and we had 4 adults, so 3 of them and me, in one cabin. And it just ended up being so much fun. We had a really great time. We all kind of did our own thing, and then we just kept meeting up and stuff, and then of course we were all in the room together. So it just was a really good time. So doing stuff like that, when I was living in Oregon, I went camping because I had bad memories with my ex with camping. And when someone asked me, I went, and I actually had a really nice time. I thought I was gonna hate it, and it was just really beautiful up in the mountains, and just spending time with people that I like spending time with. And I had my own tent. I'd never slept in a tent before. I think I was like 43 or no, I think I might have been 45, 46 years old and sleeping in a tent for the first time. But that's what happens when you say yes, is like things happen. And not always, it doesn't always work out. It's not always awesome, but sometimes it is. So back to the original story, if I use any of that. I said yes to the craft night, and I took the cross stitch, and I was working on the cross stitch and realized that I like doing it again, and it didn't bring up bad memories, and I felt good, and I felt like I just wanted to cross stitch different things, and that felt good. It felt good. And so I'm glad that I took that chance. I'm glad I picked up the thread and needle again. But I'm very happy that I said yes, and hopefully I can continue to say yes and make some changes. I have said 2025 is a year of changes, and it really is. And I think I would appreciate making some changes for myself and not have other people make those changes for me. So the rest of Saturday, I don't know what's going to go on. My daughter's not feeling well, so I think I might pick her up some food and take that over to her after I do a little thrifting, if that's what happens. So we'll see. If I go thrifting, I'll take you along with me.